We live in a world where almost everything is shared. Birthdays, coffee cups, tears, laughter, even pain dressed up with filters. The digital world is loud, shouting for attention. Yet, some people stay completely invisible. They scroll quietly, watch deeply, but rarely, if ever, post. You might know someone like this. Maybe you are someone like this. And the question that always lingers is simple. Why? Why would someone choose to stay unseen when the whole world seems to be performing? It's easy to assume they're just shy or introverted, but that's not the whole story. Beneath the surface, there's a deep psychology at play. It's a quiet rebellion against a culture obsessed with visibility. Silence is control and self-worth for many. Silence is not emptiness. It's control. It's the power to choose what the world doesn't get to know. Whether we admit it or not, social media has subtly reshaped how we see ourselves. It rewards display and praises noise. But those who stay in the shadows often see everything most clearly. They watch without needing to interrupt. They think before reacting. Psychologists have found that people who do post often score higher on traits like self-restraint and emotional independence. They tend to be less influenced by social comparison and external approval. In simpler terms, they aren't trying to prove who they are, they're trying to understand it. Most of what we post isn't just communication. It's identity crafting. It's an unconscious audition for belonging. Every update says, "This is who I am. Do you approve?" But when you stop posting, something shifts. You begin to detach your worth from digital applause. You stop thinking in captions. You start experiencing moments for yourself again, instead of for a lens. This is the secret behind many who do post. They crave authenticity in a space that feels entirely staged. They don't hate social media. They just can't find their real selves in it anymore. It's not about being anti-technology. It's about refusing to reduce your messy, full life into a few perfect highlights. Once you see how easy it is to manipulate how you look online, you start valuing what can't be posted: depth, imperfection, truth. Guarding what is sacred for some. The decision not to post comes after a kind of emotional burnout. Maybe they used to share everything until it stopped feeling real. They realized that every time they shared something beautiful, they felt an invisible pressure to keep outdoing it. They weren't living, they were performing. So, they quit quietly. It's important to understand this. Not posting doesn't mean not feeling. It often means they care too much about presence, about meaning, about protecting what's sacred. There's a concept called psychological ownership. It's the feeling that something belongs deeply to you, a memory, a special experience. When you post it, that sense of ownership fades a little. The moment becomes shared property, open to judgment and misinterpretation. People who don't post are often guarding their sense of ownership over life itself. They keep their moments untouched, private, pure. Think about it. When was the last time you did something meaningful and didn't feel the urge to share it? That reflex is not natural. It's conditioned. It's the product of years of likes and shares training our brains to equate validation with value. When someone steps outside that system, it can feel like rebellion, but it's also healing. They start rediscovering the simplicity of doing things just for themselves, cooking without photographing it, traveling without tagging it, feeling without explaining it. Beyond fear, self-awareness, and peace. Of course, not everyone's silence comes from a place of perfect peace. Some are driven by fear, the fear of judgment, rejection, or being misunderstood. Social media has amplified an anxiety called self-presentational pressure, the constant feeling that you're being watched. For many, that's exhausting. They retreat because the cost of visibility feels too high. They want to be seen, but only truly, not just superficially. Ironically, the quietest people online often have the loudest thoughts. They choose stillness instead of spectacle. This silence becomes a form of self-definition. It's saying, "I exist beyond your perception." They understand that not everything you experience is meant to be witnessed. Sometimes the most profound things in life, growth, grief, transformation, happen quietly, unseen, unposted. This is where the paradox lies. Social media was designed to connect us, yet it often makes people feel more isolated. When you don't post, you stop chasing digital closeness and start rebuilding real ones. You learn who checks in on you without updates. You find comfort in the unshared moment, and you let life unfold without turning it into content. Part of this is about identity security, knowing who you are even when nobody's watching. When you're comfortable in your own company, you don't need an audience to validate your worth. That's not arrogance, it's peace. The real rebellion is to stay whole. The psychology behind this goes deeper than simple preference. Every time we post and get attention, likes, comments, hearts, our brain releases dopamine, the chemical involved in reward and addiction. Over time, we crave the validation. Someone who resists the loop is showing discipline. They are choosing to disconnect from a cycle designed to keep you hooked. People who don't post often have a strong internal locus of control, meaning their sense of worth and happiness comes from within, not from external approval. They don't need the digital echo of "you're enough" to believe it. Studies show that people who take long breaks from social media often experience a measurable increase in emotional stability and life satisfaction. When your sense of identity is no longer constantly being mirrored back to you, it becomes solid. It becomes real. You stop editing your life into something digestible and start living in all its messy, beautiful, unfiltered complexity. Maybe that's the real rebellion, to stay whole in a world that rewards fragments. For others, their silence hides exhaustion. They realize they don't owe the world a performance. They don't owe an explanation for their silence. They don't need to keep proving they're happy just to be believed. We've confused visibility with value. We assume that to matter, we must be noticed. But real meaning doesn't need witnesses. The moments that shape who you are will often happen without a single person watching. No cameras, no captions, no audience, just you. Those who don't post understand that privacy is not loneliness, it's intimacy with yourself. Their silence is not emptiness, it's depth. It's the calm that comes from no longer needing to explain yourself to be understood. They know that not every truth is meant for the crowd, and some moments are simply too sacred for an algorithm or an opinion. So the next time you notice someone who never posts, don't assume they're hiding. Maybe they're just living. Maybe they found peace in the quiet corners of existence. Maybe they've remembered what the rest of us forgot, that being unseen doesn't mean being alone, and being quiet doesn't mean being empty. Sometimes the truest expression of who you are is silence. Because in the end, we're not meant to be performances, we're meant to be people. This was the psychology of people. Would you like me to find some studies about the effects of social media breaks on mental health? Or would you like to explore another?